Thank you, Peter. Our third speaker for this evening is Gordon Yee. Okay, you're over there. Yes. Gordon's evaluator for this evening is the talented and delightful Rachel Tan. Rachel, can you inform us of the speech objectives for tonight, please?
Toastmaster, Gordon is presenting from the Better Speaker Series project, and the project is to know the audience, to tell us how to know the audience. And according to this manual, there is no specific objectives, but it's a workshop to inform us how to know the audience. And the time is 8 to 10 minutes.
So Gordon has no objective, he's off the hook. Mr. Timer, the timing is different for Gordon's speech.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, on the back of the paper it says 10 to 12 minutes, and the front says 8 to 10, so I'm just wondering what Gordon's ready for. Okay, so 8 to 10. So, now that that's clear, at 8 minutes I will light up the green, at 9 minutes the yellow, and at 10 minutes I will light up the red, and then Gordon will have 30 seconds to wrap up. Good luck, Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler. You know, sometimes I don't know what to expect from Gordon, and I mean that in a very positive way. Alternative medical procedures, I don't have to do it, do I, Big V? I can't forget that one. Preparing speech with mind maps, yes, sometimes I know exactly what to expect from Gordon. Challenging people when he sees a wrong being done, as he revealed to us in one speech. But that's Gordon. Fellow Toastmasters, Gordon Yee. Audience, Gordon Yee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. So you folks probably remember last week I gave a presentation. I gave a workshop on speech writing versus speech craft. That workshop and this are both part of what they call the Better Speaker Series. And this is really cool for me because, first of all, giving these workshops helps me meet my requirements towards my Advanced Communicator Silver. So that's why I'm going out and I'm doing these. I'm doing another one next week as well. So I want to get through these because I want to get that ACS, because I don't want to switch over to the new pathways just yet. Just not yet. I want to finish everything else up first. So that's why I'm really going ahead. I'm plugging away at this. What's really cool is that these workshops I've chosen actually fall in really well with some other stuff that I've been doing anyhow. Because some of you probably know that I actually do this. I try to teach people how to speak in groups, how to speak in public anyhow. And I do that so they will go out there and talk about the industry that I happen to work in and learn how to do that in a proud, dignified manner. And I want more and more people to talk about this field, which I'll tell you guys about at break if you don't already know. But that's why I'm teaching them. So I can take this information that I've already done and I can make it fit with Toastmasters, because Toastmasters is actually telling you to do the exact same thing, but in a different way. Last week after I spoke about the speech writing versus speech craft, someone came to me. Who was it? Carolyn, was it you? No, or Josephine? It was one of you guys came to me and said, I loved it, but why did you use those slides? Okay, it was you. And I got to tell you the truth, I really hate these slides too. So, you know, we're just not going to worry about what the actual Toastmasters slides said, because the information that they convey is the same. Really what it comes down to is getting to know your audience. Now, Peter knows his audience. Peter, I've seen him talk about these things with power transmission and transformers and all that stuff that are up at a level up here. And you see people's faces gloss over. And they have no idea what he's talking about. But you notice that with his speech tonight, he tried to take it down to a better level for us, right? That's because he knows his audience now. He's learned who the people in the audience are, and he's adjusted for it accordingly. That's a great example of someone knowing their audience. When Ashley spoke, Ash, where are you? Okay, there you are, okay. When Ashley spoke, he was talking about how he's seen other people here give their evaluations. He knows who his audience is. He's talking about evaluations. He's making it relate to them. So how can you guys learn more about how to... Watch that go again, that's fun. About how to deal with the audience. Well, audience is a great word. Think of it this way. It starts with analysis. The first thing that you want to do whenever you prepare any type of speech, whenever you're getting ready to speak to a group of people, is to analyze who are the people. Vincent, we've had conversations like this before when you're in sales. Anyone who sells things, you want to know who you're talking to. Are you speaking to the decision maker? Are you speaking to an influencer? Are you speaking to a user? You want to know who you're speaking to in the audience. Ashley knew that he was speaking to people who either have given evaluations or want to give evaluations, and he took their experiences and reflected them back in his speech. So you need to know who you're talking to for any type of speech. I'm trying to think of what could be a good example. What are some speeches I've seen recently? I was thinking of Caroline because with the organizing and all that, if she wants to pitch to a bunch of people, she wants to give a seminar on organizing a garage, she needs to know she's going to be speaking to the husbands who are going to be organizing the garage, and then maybe she should also tag something in. No, you're speaking to the women, aren't you? So even if you're speaking to the wives about organizing the garage, you know that you can extend that then into the basement and the kids' room and everywhere else. So having that understanding helps you a lot. So the first thing you need to do is analyze who your audience is. Then you need to know what is their understanding of this topic. And again, this is what Peter did before. He knows that a lot of people don't necessarily know a lot about power distribution and power grids. So he knows that our level of understanding is fairly low. So he has to fill in the missing blanks. What are the people's understanding of that particular field? Sorry, jump back here. What are the demographics? Now when we're talking about demographics, we literally mean the demographics. What is the education level of your audience? What is their income? What is their first language? You're speaking to them in English. Is English their first, second, or third language? Do most of them have a university education? Do most of them make a certain income level? Again, all these things really make a difference. If you're going to speak to a bunch of high school dropouts, you will use very different vocabulary than if you're speaking to a bunch of people with PhDs. That's just a reality of it. So make sure that you adjust it accordingly. What's their interest? Why are they here listening to you? What is it that they hope to get out of your presentation? So you need to know what is it that people really want. What's the nugget of information that they want to be able to walk away with? This is their expectation upon you. That is their interest. Funnily enough, that comes right on to expectations. What are your expectations? What is it that you expect to leave the audience with? Maybe their interests and your expectations don't meet. And if they don't, you need to reevaluate that. Why are they coming and what are you hoping to give them? Those two things need to line up. What are their needs? Now, I mean literally, what are their needs? Falk, as you know, Falk, a former member, for those who don't know, he spoke a lot to people who deal with chronic pain. And that was his real passion. Well, when you're talking to people who deal with chronic pain, they are not necessarily terribly mobile. It can be difficult for them to get into the area that you're speaking to them. Do they have some special needs? Yvonne, we love having you here every week. It's a challenge for you to get up here. I'm sure that you would much rather if we were on a ground floor somewhere. And Jillian, I'm sure that you would much rather that as well. This is one of the things that they have to do in order to get to this meeting every week. Well, by the same right, is there anything that you need to do to them, for them? So that could extend so far as if you are expecting a bunch of people, if you're speaking to seniors, make sure that you speak loudly enough for them because a lot of seniors have a hard time with hearing. If you're speaking to a bunch of people where English is their second or third language, make sure that you enunciate appropriately. Make sure that the jargon that you use is appropriate. Those types of things. Customized. Are you willing to modify your presentation on the fly in order to meet some type of event that takes place, like the power going out, and making that work into it? I mean, Ash, you did a great job handling that tonight. You were right in there. You barely dropped the beat when the lights came back on, and that can be tough. And Peter, I don't know what you would have done. Well, actually, no, that's not entirely true, because your speech tonight didn't necessarily rely on your PowerPoint, did it?
No.
I mean, it benefited from it. Would you have been able to do it without the PowerPoint? Because you're willing to customize. So that's a really important thing. About 5 years ago, I was at a conference in Winnipeg. I was actually hosting an awards ceremony. We were expecting about 300 people in this awards ceremony, and the power went off at the hotel where we were having it. We decided to go ahead and do it anyhow. We had to build up so much energy. We had to get people in. We had candles up the aisle. It was actually fantastic. And one of the best things about it is that the people who were giving the awards were all vendors. They all sponsored the awards, and they ended up blanking on a lot of stuff because they couldn't read their notes properly. So it made the whole thing go really quick. And all that I had to do was keep the energy going the rest of the time. It was a great way to customize it and make it enjoyable to the audience. So you need to be ready to customize to your audience's needs. And then finally, I want you to think about the environment. Even here at this club, we don't always know what to expect each week when we come in here. Which way is the room going to be set up? It's been done several different ways. I need to learn about the squeaky floor and what the spots to avoid. Maybe this tape or something. There we go. But seriously, are you going to be speaking in an open U? Are you going to be in a square, in a closed square? Are you going to be in a classroom setting? Is it going to be a boardroom type of setup or a reception hall with round tables and those types of things? Knowing how the room is going to set up will help to decide how you're going to interact with your audience. It will let you know, can you actually go ahead and walk down into the space and see if you can't carry yourself through? If you've got round tables, can you go ahead and work your way through them? You want to know what your setting is, especially if you have an actual stage where you're 3 feet or 4 feet up at the floor, and then any of that interaction, you can't do it at all. This is why even in Toastmasters, during the contests, they really very clearly define what the speaking area is, and you're not supposed to go any further than that, because you need to consider the environment. This whole acronym of audience is something that writers do all the time, and it's something that we should do as speech crafters. Always keep your audience in mind using this acronym, and then you can always keep their needs the most important of the night. Mr. Where's the tabletop? Sorry, Toastmaster. There you go.